talk about the environmental issues. I just wanted to share with you something which happened last night. I and several people in this room were at a fundraiser for the Asian Task Force Against Domestic Violence. And they have an annual gala, and you know, when they got up to the speaking portion, they talked about they were grateful that Mayor and Mrs. Menino had been coming for a number of years. They recognized other elected officials. And then they started on the live auction, and there were 5 live auction items. Now, for those of you who are foodies, you probably have heard of Ming Sao from Blue Ginger. So it was the last auction item. There were only 5 auction items, and it was Ming was going to come to your house to prepare dinner. He was going to bring his buddies, Lydia Shire, and you know, all those folks. And they started the bidding at $5,000. I head up a very small not-for-profit. Let me tell you, for not-for-profits, when you have auction items that go for $5,000, well, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and in this economy. So they start the bidding at $5,000. Of course, none of us are raising our hands, but you know, they go 1,000 at a time. It ended at $30,000. So then Ming says to the successful bidder, an older gentleman, non-Asian gentleman, "Oh, would you like to say a few words?" Thinking, now, if you know Ming, there's a bit of because he's also on television, I wouldn't say ego, but you know what I mean, right? So Ming thinks the guy's going to come up and say, "I bid 30,000. Okay. So the man gets up and says, "You know, my wife and I are pleased to make this contribution of 30,000. We believe that the task force has done a tremendous job, and we're pleased to do that. But I also want to make this this donation in honor of the person who has done more in this room than anybody else against domestic violence. And it is in honor of Tom Menino." Now, I think the mayor had already left, but that's pretty amazing. I've lived in the city only 26 years. I think I'm younger than the other speakers, but maybe not. And I've worked on environmental issues for close to 30 years, particularly on environmental justice issues. And working with Bob Bullard and others at the Sierra Club nationally, we really fostered an understanding of environmental justice and what it means in urban areas. And our organization, the one that I work for during the daytime, actually gave an award to the mayor several years ago for what he has been able to do in the neighborhoods of East Boston and Dorchester and such, really dealing with issues of environmental justice, open space, and such. If you live in this city, you know the green pails that we put out every week, right, for recycling. Our city was one of the first in the country, and we were working very hard to increase the amount of recycling that's occurring. When you look at the fact that Boston Harbor is now clean enough to swim in, one person that's consistently been pushing for that. When you look at the restoration of beaches in Constitution Beach in East Boston, when you look at Carson Beach in South Boston, when you look throughout our city, those efforts are thanks to, again, one person who's really been pushing the state to be sure that the beaches are available for all of us who frankly can't afford to go to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. But for those of us who live in the city, that we have a place to go and enjoy, you know, the 12 to 14 weeks of the summer when we've got our kids at home and we're not going to the vineyard or wherever other people may be going. When you look at what is happening on sustainability and climate change, there isn't another mayor in this country that has done what's being done right now in Boston. I don't know how many of you know, but the Boston Conservation Commission, which is under the mayor's office, recently is now requiring developers to build their buildings several feet higher to take into fact that there's going to be sea level rise. Now you guys may say, "Oh, that's not such a big deal," except you can be sure the development community has not been pleased about that. But this is a mayor who's thinking ahead about what is going to happen when there is going to be, as we all know, some type of sea level rise. And he's really thinking progressively and forward thinking. The new buildings that are going up are all LEED certified, which means that they incorporate environmental sustainability. Our mayor was the first in the country to really push for that of the large city mayors. And of course, for those of you who ride a bicycle, here's the mayor who's on the bike. So our mayor, not only on environmental issues, but also understanding health issues and what benefits all of us as residents. So When I speak to young people, as I see Lydia's young daughter, and I go to schools, and they say, so how long have you been at your job? And I say, 18 years. And they say, isn't that a long time? And I say, yeah, to some extent, if I had to do it over, I may or may not have done that. But the advantage of being someplace 18 years or many more years is that you can really make a contribution and see a change. So I'm hoping to be at my job for more than the 18 years, and I'm hoping that Tom Menino will be in his so that we can work together to make this an even better city. Thank you.